I'm Emma Martinez, 25, and for most of my life, I was the shadow in what everyone called our picture-perfect family. 3 years ago, my sister's accident nearly killed me, and my parents begged me to stay quiet. But sometimes the truth has a way of speaking for itself, even when it's written in broken bones. Before I share what really happened that night, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Hit that like button if you believe the truth should never be silenced, no matter how painful it might be. Growing up in our upscale Denver neighborhood, the Martinez family looked flawless from the outside. My father, Dr. Carlos Martinez, was a celebrated cardiologist at Presbyterian Hospital. His skilled hands saved lives daily, and his research appeared in prestigious medical journals. My mother, Isabella Martinez, ruled as the neighborhood's social queen, organizing charity events that drew Denver's elite while serving on every important community board. Our contemporary home, with its pristine landscaping and seasonal decorations, was featured in local magazines twice. Then there were us kids, each playing our assigned family roles. Sophia, 3 years older than me, was the golden child incarnate. She maintained a perfect 4.0 GPA from elementary through high school, served as student body president, and played piano at concert level. Her college applications sparkled with volunteer work at children's hospitals and internships at father's medical practice. Sophia's dark hair and striking features drew constant admiration, while her magnetic personality attracted only the most accomplished friends. Miguel, 2 years younger than me, held the coveted position of family baby and charming troublemaker. His mischievous smile and easy laugh got him out of any situation. When he crashed Mom's car at 15, they bought him a safer one, claiming he needed better protection while learning. Miguel's mediocre grades never worried anyone. He was finding himself and had natural charisma. And then there was me, Emma, the forgotten middle child. I wasn't failing, but I wasn't extraordinary either. My solid B-plus average earned brief acknowledgments during dinner conversations dominated by Sophia's achievements. My role on the school newspaper didn't compare to leadership positions. I wasn't beautiful or ugly, just average height with average brown hair and unremarkable features that blended into family photos. I existed in the margins of our family story, desperately trying different activities to earn a moment's recognition. Emma needs to apply herself more, Father would declare during our mandatory Sunday dinners. Sophia was already taking advanced classes at your age. These dinners showcased our family's obsession with appearances. Mother spent hours preparing Instagram-worthy meals, positioning us around the mahogany table in perfect familial harmony. Father at the head, mother at the foot, golden child and baby boy on one side, invisible middle daughter on the other. We rehearsed acceptable topics: academic achievements, volunteer opportunities, neighborhood news that reflected well on us. The Henderson son was rejected from Stanford. Mother would whisper with barely hidden satisfaction. Apparently his essay was completely unoriginal. Imagine the embarrassment. Public events required coordinated outfits, not matching exactly, but complementary colors that photographed beautifully. Mother trained us to respond to questions about our family with scripted answers. Yes, we're so blessed to have such a supportive family, Sophia would recite to admiring neighbors. My parents really encourage all our individual interests, I'd echo, though I couldn't remember them ever attending my art exhibitions. I discovered painting in 9th grade when Mrs. Chun, my art teacher, noticed my sketches during lunch. Through art, I found escape from family pressure. I could create worlds where imperfection held beauty. Unlike our family, where flaws were scrubbed away and denied existence, I painted abstract pieces, swirling emotions in color, feelings that couldn't be expressed in our scripted family conversations. My canvases captured the loneliness of being surrounded by people who never truly saw me. As Sophia entered her senior year, her perfectionism reached dangerous levels. I'd hear her pacing at midnight, witness her rewriting assignments until her handwriting achieved machine-like precision. She calculated and recalculated her GPA obsessively, terrified of losing valedictorian status. Piano practice extended hours beyond reason as she pursued competition-level perfection. Harvard has been the Martinez family tradition for generations, Father reminded her constantly. Your great-grandfather would be so proud to see you continue the legacy. I never expected my small moment of recognition to trigger the first crack in Sophia's perfect facade. The state youth art competition accepted one of my paintings, an abstract piece called Between Spaces that explored isolation and identity. To my shock, I won second place. For one dinner, conversation centered on my achievement. Father mentioned a colleague whose daughter attended a prestigious art program. Mother suggested displaying my work in our living room. Sophia sat unusually quiet, moving food around her plate. "It's just a state contest," she finally said. "Not exactly Harvard material." "Sophia," Mother scolded gently. "Support your sister." "I'm being realistic," Sophia countered. "Art is a hobby, not a career. Emma needs to focus on pre-med if she wants to succeed." Just like that, my moment evaporated. Father agreed about practicality. Mother pivoted to Sophia's upcoming piano recital, and Miguel asked to be excused for video games. I retreated to invisibility, but not before catching Sophia's expression. Not triumph, but relief. That was my first glimpse of how fragile her perfection truly was, how threatened she felt by any attention diverted from her carefully constructed image. 2 years later, our family dynamics shifted into dangerous territory. Sophia, now 20, was in her junior year at Harvard, hyper-focused on medical school applications. Meanwhile, at 17, I was finally developing my identity outside Sophia's shadowed. My friendship with Rosa Delgado provided the authenticity missing from family relationships. Rosa, whose parents owned a local bakery, possessed confidence and warmth entirely absent in my social circle. She spoke her mind, embraced her heritage, and supported her family while maintaining excellent grades. My parents predictably disapproved. "The Delgados seem like nice people," Mother commented after Rosa dropped me off one evening, her emphasis on nice, carrying unmistakable condescension. "But you should really strengthen connections with the Chun family. Their daughter is pre-med at Stanford." "Amy Chun is boring and fake," I replied in rare defiance. "Rosa is genuine." "Genuine doesn't get you into medical school," Father interjected. "Connections do." As I found my voice, Sophia seemed to be losing hers. Dark circles became permanent fixtures under her eyes. Her typically flawless appearance showed subtle deterioration: chipped nail polish, wrinkled clothes, hair hastily tied back. One evening in November, during another mandatory family dinner, I made an announcement that would change everything. "I've been researching art programs for college," I said during a brief silence. "The Art Institute of Chicago has an incredible fine arts program." The silence felt suffocating. Mother's fork paused halfway to her mouth. Father's jaw tightened. Miguel suddenly became fascinated with his vegetables. "Art school," Father finally spoke, his tone suggesting I'd announced plans to join a circus. "Painting isn't a practical career path, Emma. Pre-med is the obvious choice." "But I don't want to be a doctor," I countered. "I want to be an artist." "Art can remain a lovely hobby," Mother offered with a strained smile. "Many doctors have creative outlets. It's not a hobby for me. It's my passion." "This is just a phase," Father dismissed. "You'll understand the job market realities soon enough. No daughter of mine will struggle as a starving artist when she could have a respectable medical career." I looked to Sophia, expecting her usual perfect daughter agreement with our parents. Instead, she surprised me. "I think Emma's art is really talented," she said quietly. "Maybe she should follow her dreams." The comment felt calculated somehow, not genuinely supportive. Before I could analyze it, Father redirected conversation to Sophia's MCAT scores. Later that week, I overheard an intense argument from Father's study. "A 91 on organic chemistry is unacceptable, Sophia." Father's voice carried cold disappointment. "Medical schools don't accept students with imperfect records." "I've been studying constantly." Sophia's voice cracked. "I barely sleep anymore." "Perhaps better time management," Mother suggested. "Emma mentioned seeing you at that downtown coffee shop with friends last week." I froze in the hallway. I hadn't mentioned seeing Sophia anywhere. My parents were manufacturing conflicts between us, using me as surveillance against my sister. The next morning, I noticed Sophia slip a small orange prescription bottle into her pocket as she left the bathroom. Her bloodshot eyes met mine with surprising hostility. "Did you tell Mom and Dad you saw me downtown?" she demanded. "No, I was with Rosa all week. I didn't see you anywhere." Sophia studied my face suspiciously. Something had hardened in her expression, calculation replacing her former confidence. "Stay out of my business, Emma," she warned. "Focus on your little paintings and leave me alone." 2 weeks later came the first physical incident. I was carrying art supplies up to my room when Sophia appeared at the top of the stairs. I barely registered her presence before feeling a hard shove against my shoulder. I stumbled, dropping my supplies, and nearly fell down the steps. "Oh God, Emma." Sophia rushed forward with apparent concern. "You're so clumsy. Are you okay?" My parents, hearing the commotion, appeared quickly. "What happened?" Mother demanded. Emma tripped over her art supplies, Sophia explained before I could speak. I tried to catch her, but couldn't reach in time. I opened my mouth to contradict her, but something in Sophia's eyes made me hesitate, a silent warning that chilled me. "I guess I wasn't watching where I was going," I mumbled instead. Typical Emma, father sighed. Always distracted by her art projects instead of paying attention. I began noticing Sophia watching me with a strange intensity when she thought I wasn't looking, not anger exactly, but assessment, as if calculating something. Fear grew in my stomach each time I caught that calculating stare. When I confided in Rosa about my suspicions, she didn't dismiss them. "Competitive siblings can get dangerous," she said as we sat in her family's bakery after closing. "But pushing you downstairs crosses every line." "Has she always been jealous of you?" "Jealous of me? She's the golden child."
"I'm nobody."
"Maybe that's changing," Rosa suggested. "Your art is threatening her perfect daughter status. If medical school rejects her, what's her identity then?" I shook my head, unwilling to believe Sophia could see me as competition. "Sometimes the person with everything fears losing it more than the person with nothing fears gaining it," Rosa observed. I dismissed Rosa's theory until I found my art portfolio destroyed. The leather folder containing paintings for my college applications lay on my bed, water damage warping the canvases, beyond repair. My digital files had been deleted from my laptop. The destruction was too deliberate, too thorough to be accidental. "Did you do this?" I demanded, bursting into Sophia's pristine bedroom with my ruined portfolio. Sophia looked up from her laptop, MCAD practice tests displayed on screen. Her expression shifted from annoyed interruption to something colder. "Do what?" she asked with practiced innocence, though satisfaction flickered in her eyes. "My portfolio is destroyed. Someone poured water on my paintings and deleted my files." She closed her laptop deliberately and stood, suddenly seeming taller despite our similar heights. "You think anyone cares about your stupid paintings? You're nothing in this family, Emma. I'm the one with real talent, real potential." Her words struck with precision, targeting insecurities she'd observed over years of living alongside me. "Mom and Dad will hear about this," I threatened weakly. "Tell them," Sophia shrugged confidently. "They'll assume you left water near your precious art." Careless Emma, always daydreaming. She was right, and we both knew it. My word against Sophia's had never been a fair contest. That evening, seeking space to process this new reality, I climbed onto the small section of roof outside my bedroom window, my secret refuge for years. From here, I could see beyond our perfect neighborhood to the city lights, reminding me that a whole world existed outside our suffocating family dynamics. "Emma." Sophia's voice startled me. She stood at my window, already climbing through. "Can we talk?" Weariness kept me silent as she navigated onto the roof, maintaining distance between us. Her expression appeared contrite, shoulders hunched in apparent regret. "I'm sorry about your paintings," she offered softly. "I was stressed about them cats and took it out on you. That wasn't fair." Suspicion prevented immediate forgiveness. Sophia never apologized. She justified or redirected blame. "Why would you do that? My art doesn't affect your medical school applications." Sophia sighed, gazing toward the horizon. You don't understand the pressure. Mom and Dad expect absolute perfection. I can't show any weakness. Her voice cracked convincingly. Then you found your talent, something you're genuinely good at, and they actually noticed you. Even for 5 minutes. Barely, I scoffed, before returning to the Sophia show. But those 5 minutes terrified me, she admitted, pulling a prescription bottle from her pocket, the same one I'd glimpsed earlier. What if they started seeing you more? What if they realized I'm barely holding it together? I leaned forward, reading the label. Adderall prescribed to someone named Jennifer Walsh, not Sophia Martinez. You're taking someone else's prescription drugs. Sophia, that's dangerous and illegal.
See?
This is why I can't talk to anyone, she snapped, her contrite mask slipping. Everyone judges instead of understanding. I'm trying to understand. But this isn't healthy. You need help. Tell them what? That their perfect daughter is actually a fraud? They'd be devastated. Maybe they need to see the real consequences of their pressure. Easy for you to say. They barely expect anything from you. I'm carrying this family's legacy. Something in her tone sent warning signals through my body. I shifted subtly, creating distance on the narrow roof section. Sophia, you're scaring me. I'm scaring myself, she admitted with unsettling calm. She stepped closer as I instinctively moved back. But I figured it out. The problem isn't the pills or pressure. It's distractions. Like your sudden art school dreams and everyone making a big deal about your paintings. My back pressed against the dormer window. Escape was impossible. Sophia stood between me and the window I'd climbed through. What are you saying? I'm saying, Sophia replied with terrifying clarity, sometimes problems need permanent solutions. Her movement was swift and precise, hands connecting with my shoulders in a powerful push that left no doubt about intent. For a suspended moment, I teetered on the edge, arms windmilling desperately for balance. Sophia's expression contained no anger, only cold resolution. Then gravity claimed me. The fall seemed to last forever and an instant simultaneously. I remember fragments, the scrape of roof tiles against my desperate fingers, our neighbor's shocked face as she walked her dog, the October skies spinning overhead. Then impact. My body connecting with the stone patio 2 stories below with a sickening crunch that reverberated through every bone. Pain exploded everywhere, then receded into strange numbness. I couldn't move, couldn't speak, could barely breathe. Through tunnel vision, I saw Sophia's panicked face at the roof's edge, genuine horror replacing her previous determination. She disappeared, presumably running for help. Consciousness came in waves. Father's clinical voice, possible pneumothorax, definite pelvic fracture. Mother's wailing. What will people think? What will we tell everyone? Sophia's rehearsed story. She was painting on the roof. I tried to warn her about getting too close to the edge. Paramedics materialized in my fragmented awareness. Oxygen mask, neck brace, backboard, agonizing transfer to the ambulance. Father rode along, already making calls to hospital colleagues. The last thing I remember before darkness was his voice, clinical and detached. My daughter had an art accident. Yes, the middle one.
Emma.
I woke in intensive care surrounded by the rhythmic beeping of monitors. Taking inventory of injuries. Broken ribs, punctured lung, fractured pelvis, severe concussion, countless contusions. My body, once functional if unremarkable, now broken and betrayed, not just by the fall, but by the hands that caused it. My parents flanked my bed like sentinels of narrative control, their practice story already prepared. Emma slipped while painting on the roof, the artist's equivalent of cleaning a loaded gun, a tragic accident born of carelessness rather than deliberate violence. A young police officer arrived to take a routine statement. Emma was painting on the roof outside her bedroom. Father explained smoothly before I could speak. She's always been passionate about art, sometimes carelessly so. Is that what happened, Miss Martinez? The officer asked me directly. Through medication haze and throbbing pain, I opened my mouth to contradict the story. But Mother quickly interjected. She's heavily sedated. The doctors say confusion is normal with severe concussion. We were just explaining what happened since she doesn't remember the fall. The officer nodded sympathetically and left with their fabricated account that painted me as recklessly negligent while protecting Sophia. Later, after Mother left to check on Miguel, Father closed the door and sat beside my bed. His expression wasn't concerned, but coldly pragmatic. We need to discuss the story moving forward. Your accident was unfortunate, but we can't let it create complications. Sophia's medical school applications are due next month. This can't interfere with her future. It wasn't an accident. I managed through cracked lips. Sophia pushed me. Father's expression didn't change. No shock, disbelief, or denial. Just calculation, which proved more devastating than any reaction I'd anticipated. Sophia's future can't be ruined by your carelessness, he stated flatly. Medical schools don't accept students with this hanging over them. Our family's reputation depends on your cooperation. She tried to kill me. I insisted, tears forming despite my determination to stay strong. Don't be dramatic. If she wanted to kill you, you'd be dead. Sophia lost her temper and you were injured. Regrettable, but not criminal. We'll handle this privately. What about justice? My safety. Father sighed impatiently. Emma, be practical. What would pressing charges accomplish? Sophia would lose medical school. Our family name would be tarnished. Your mother's community position would be compromised. My patients might question my judgment. You'd still be injured, still recovering. Nothing changes except our family is destroyed. He stood, straightening his tie. Consider this a life lesson about situational awareness. Perhaps reconsider your college plans too. Pre-med at University of Colorado would keep you close during recovery and set you on a practical path. Mother reinforced this message the next morning, arranging flowers with camera-ready concern for any staff witnessing her performance. Darling, we've researched art therapy programs, she announced. It's a legitimate healthcare field where you could use your artistic interests responsibly. The threat was clear. Play along or lose any chance at college support. Miguel's visit provided brief relief from the pressure. At 15, he remained innocent of family manipulation, genuinely upset by my injuries. Sophia said you were painting and slipped, he mentioned while showing me his phone games. She feels terrible. Said she should have stopped you from going on the roof. I studied my brother's trusting face and chose to protect his innocence a while longer. Hospital routine continued with vital checks, pain management, physical therapy assessments. Through it all, I noticed medical records being carefully managed. The first x-rays prompted concerned expressions from a young resident, quickly smoothed when Father's colleague Dr. Ramirez entered. Impressive fall injuries, Dr. Ramirez commented, reviewing my chart. Should heal well with proper care. Emma has always been accident-prone, Father said meaningfully. Spatial awareness issues since childhood. Dr. Ramirez nodded with understanding, signing off on discharge planning. My father's medical connections ensured minimal questions about injuries inconsistent with a simple fall. During recovery at home, Rosa managed to visit during a rare period when both parents were absent. Your mother tried blocking my visits, she explained, bringing art supplies. Said you needed family-only support. They're controlling everything, I whispered fearfully. Sophia pushed me deliberately, and they're all pretending it was an accident. Instead of disbelief, Rosa's expression showed confirmation of her suspicions. I knew something was wrong. You're too careful for a stupid accident. Rosa's presence provided the first genuine compassion I'd experienced since the fall. Before leaving, she shared crucial information. I met a hospital social worker in the waiting room, Mrs. Garcia. She said she's assigned to your case, but your parents keep rescheduling. She needs to speak with you alone. This provided my first glimmer of hope, someone outside my parents' influence who might ask the right questions. 2 months post-accident, I remained essentially imprisoned in our home. Physical limitations paled compared to psychological confinement. Every aspect of recovery occurred under parental supervision. Medical appointments with Father's colleagues, carefully screened visitors, controlled pain medication that kept me compliant and foggy. Sophia had returned to Harvard immediately after winter break, conveniently removing herself from the crime scene. Our few interactions were surreal, her performance of concerned sister contrasting with private moments when her eyes revealed only relief at escaping consequences. "How can you just leave knowing what you did?" I asked as she packed. She continued folding clothes without facing me. "Accidents happen, Emma. I've moved past your carelessness. You should too." "This isn't over," I promised quietly. Sophia finally turned calculating. "Actually, it is. You'll follow the script because you have nowhere else to go. I'll excel at Harvard while you recover from your art accident. By summer, this will be ancient history." My parents continued reinforcing their narrative through pressure and control. Mother redecorated my room while I was hospitalized, removing art supplies and replacing them with pre-med materials. Father scheduled informational interviews with medical school colleagues. Dr. Peterson mentioned a summer research program for high school students, he announced during dinner. "Perfect opportunity while you complete physical therapy." Throughout this period, my only rebellion was secret documentation. When alone, I photographed my healing injuries, recorded voice notes about narrative inconsistencies, and documented my actual memories. Each record contradicted the official story, though I had no plan for using this evidence. Mrs. Garcia became an unexpected ally during outpatient therapy. My parents couldn't object to mandatory post-trauma counseling without raising suspicions. "Recovery involves reclaiming your voice," she noted during one session. Trauma survivors often feel silenced by those around them, compounding the original injury. During our fourth session, I finally voiced partial truth. "My family prefers their version of events over mine." Mrs. Garcia nodded professionally while passing me a business card. "Sometimes hospital environments aren't conducive to complete honesty. My private practice address is here should you need different support." The offer of resources outside parental influence represented a potential escape route I carefully memorized. In February, during my parents' charity gala attendance, I seized rare opportunity for investigation. Using gradually improving mobility, I searched Sophia's room for evidence. Despite her Harvard absence, they'd preserve her space as a shrine to the golden child. After careful searching, I found a hidden compartment containing multiple prescription bottles, Adderall, Ritalin, Modafinil, each with different names and prescribing doctors. Online research confirmed my suspicions: performance-enhancing drugs commonly abused for academic advantage. The discovery revealed another dimension to Sophia's desperate image protection. Her achievements relied on illegal substances, making her willing to eliminate perceived threats through violence. The golden child's success was as artificially constructed as our family's perfect image. I photographed everything and returned items exactly as found, adding evidence to my growing documentation. College application season approached, my last chance at independence. While my parents believed me resigned to local pre-med programs, I secretly applied to art schools with Rosa's help, using her address for correspondence. The facade cracked when decision letters arrived. "Financial aid forms for UC pre-med are complete," Mother mentioned casually. "You should hear about packages soon." "What about Art Institute applications?" I asked carefully. Her brief hesitation confirmed my suspicion. "Your father and I decided against encouraging unrealistic paths during recovery. They'd eliminated my alternatives without knowledge or consent, systematically dismantling my autonomy beyond the present into my entire future." "You had no right," I stated, a rare, direct challenge. "We had every right," Father countered. "As parents and financial supporters, we're making decisions in your best interest. This art obsession already cost you physically. Time to accept reality." The crushing realization that they would control my future indefinitely nearly broke my resolve. Without financial independence, I remained trapped regardless of physical recovery. The breaking point arrived during Sophia's spring break visit. While my parents hosted a welcome celebration for the returning scholar, I searched her room again for updated evidence. Instead of drugs, I found something more damning: her journal carelessly left in her weekend bag. Against lifetime privacy conditioning, I opened it, justifying invasion as necessary self-preservation. Among descriptions of Harvard courses and social strategies, one entry from after the accident stopped my breath. Problem solved with parents completely supportive of accident story. Harvard interviewer actually sympathized about traumatic experience witnessing my sister's fall. Turned potential disaster into compelling personal statement material. Sometimes decisive action is necessary when too much is at stake. The clinical description of nearly killing me as problem solved triggered immediate panic attack. Chest tightening, vision narrowing. I stumbled from her room, clutching the journal, gasping for breath. Mother found me collapsed in the hallway, immediately assuming physical setback rather than psychological breakdown. The resulting emergency room visit introduced Dr. Rivera to my case, an attending physician unfamiliar with father's influence network. Symptoms suggest anxiety attack rather than physical regression, she noted after assessment, but I'd like updated x-rays to ensure no complications with healing fractures. As technicians positioned me for fresh images, Dr. Rivera reviewed my file with increasing focus on original injury documentation. Something in her expression suggested professional concern beyond routine follow-up. The x-rays would soon speak what I couldn't, beginning the collapse of a conspiracy built to protect the wrong person. Dr. Rivera's expression changed subtly as she examined new x-rays alongside original injury films. Her professionally neutral demeanor shifted to focused intensity as she compared images, occasionally referring to chart notes. I'd like to discuss these results privately, she announced, glancing meaningfully at Mother. Hospital policy for patients over 16. I'm her mother, came the predictable objection. Emma needs family support during medical discussions. Nevertheless, Dr. Rivera maintained firmly, patient confidentiality applies. The consultation room is across the hall if Emma wishes to include you afterward. Once alone, Dr. Rivera positioned x-ray films side by side on the lightboard. Emma, I'm speaking directly. These injuries don't match a simple fall. The impact angle suggests you were pushed. The professional validation of reality I'd been denied for months broke something inside me. Tears came without warning, months of suppressed truth seeking release. Take your time, Dr. Rivera offered quietly, but I need to understand what actually happened. Through broken sentences, I revealed everything. Sophia's escalating behavior, the roof confrontation, the deliberate push, my parents' orchestrated cover-up. As my account unfolded, Dr. Rivera took careful notes without judgment or disbelief. This explains discrepancies in your initial treatment notes, she confirmed. Fracture patterns never aligned with accidental fall narrative. Your father's colleague noted inconsistencies, but signed off anyway. No one will believe me over my parents, I explained. They've convinced everyone I'm confused. Dr. Rivera's expression hardened. Medical evidence doesn't lie, even when people do. These x-rays tell a clear story of assault, not accident. She outlined next steps. Hospital administration would be notified of potential ethics violations, and as a mandatory reporter, she was legally obligated to contact police and family services. What happens now? I asked, equally terrified and relieved. Formal investigation. Your safety is priority. We can arrange temporary placement outside your home. Before I could respond, commotion erupted outside, father's authoritative voice demanding access, invoking professional courtesy. Hospital security held firm, following Dr. Rivera's privacy instructions. When my parents were eventually allowed in, tension crackled. Father immediately recognized displayed x-rays and their threat to his narrative. Dr. Rivera, he addressed her with forced collegiality, Emma's case is managed by our family physician. These additional tests seem unnecessary. Actually, Dr. Martinez, these images clarify rather than confuse. They demonstrate injury patterns inconsistent with accidental fall and highly consistent with directed force, a push. Mother gasped dramatically. What exactly are you implying? I'm directly stating that medical evidence contradicts the accident report. Hospital administration has been notified, and I've contacted authorities as required by law. This is outrageous. Father's voice lowered dangerously. You're overstepping based on incomplete information. My daughter has spatial awareness issues and risk-taking behavior. Emma has provided a different account, Dr. Rivera replied calmly, one that aligns with physical evidence. All eyes turned to me, the invisible middle child suddenly commanding attention. For years I'd craved my parents' focus, but now their gaze carried only damage control calculations. Emma, Mother employed her gentlest tone, you're confused again, mixing nightmares with reality. Trauma affects memory terribly. But we were there. We know what happened. Lifetime conditioning nearly reasserted itself. The impulse to accept their reality, doubt my experience, return to compliance safety. Then I remembered Sophia's journal entry. Problems solved with E. I reached into my bag for evidence I'd brought. Sophia's journal entry carefully photographed, documentation of my recovery injuries, and my secret voice recordings contradicting their narrative. I'm not confused, I stated, voice steadier than expected. Sophia pushed me because I threatened to expose her prescription drug abuse. You covered it up to protect her Harvard admission and your reputations. The X-rays prove everything I've said is true. Father's face transformed from controlled concern to cold fury. You have no idea what you're doing. This vindictive attention-seeking will destroy our family. I wanted parents who valued my safety over appearances, I answered honestly. I wanted a sister who saw me as a person, not competition. Since none of that exists, I'll settle for justice and protection. The door opened to admit hospital security, a police detective, and a family services representative. The formal investigation had begun, setting consequences my family never anticipated when constructing their perfect facade. Dr. and Mrs. Martinez, the detective addressed my parents. We'd like to ask questions about your daughter's injuries. We also need to contact Sophia at Harvard. Mother collapsed dramatically while father maintained rigid control. Our attorney will meet us at the station. We have nothing to hide but refuse to be ambushed. As they were escorted out, father delivered a final threat disguised as concern. Think carefully, Emma. Once certain doors close, they can't reopen. Families should protect each other. The family services representative, Ms. Winters, explained I wouldn't return home during investigation proceedings. We'll arrange temporary placement. Is there someone you'd feel comfortable staying with? Rose's family immediately came to mind, their genuine warmth contrasting sharply with my own family's arranged emptiness. As I provided contact information, 16 years of invalidation began lifting. The X-rays had spoken what I couldn't, truth visible in black and white, undeniable evidence that my reality was accurate. The family explosion occurred rapidly over subsequent weeks. Sophia was called back from Harvard for police questioning, her perfect college experience interrupted by her crime's consequences. Miguel, confused and betrayed by revelations about his idealized sister, stayed with our grandparents while struggling to reconcile conflicting family realities. My parents presented united denial despite mounting evidence. When Sophia eventually confessed under pressure of multiple witnesses and physical proof, they shifted seamlessly to damage control, hiring attorneys to frame the incident as momentary adolescent impulse rather than calculated harm. Their final ultimatum came through lawyers during a supervised meeting: recant my accusations, accept an accident narrative acknowledging Sophia's role in encouraging risky behavior, and return to family unity with therapy promises and improved communication. In exchange, they'd fund my education at an approved art school. The alternative was clear: proceed with charges and be permanently cut off financially and emotionally. Sometimes family loyalty requires difficult compromises, Mother explained with rehearsed compassion. We can heal together and move forward stronger. The old Emma might have capitulated, accepting partial validation as better than none, sacrificing justice for approval. But the Emma who survived being pushed from a roof, who endured months of gaslighting during recovery, who finally saw her reality confirmed through irrefutable evidence, that Emma recognized the offered compromise as another form of silencing. I choose truth, I stated simply. Even without family. 6 months after the X-rays revealed their evidence, my life transformed completely from the controlled existence I'd known. I now lived with Rose's family in their warm apartment above their bakery. The Delgados welcomed me without hesitation when investigation determined my home environment unsafe. Family is who protects you, not who shares your blood, Rose's mother told me while preparing dinner. Wisdom that reshaped my understanding of belonging. Legal aftermath unfolded with consequences my parents desperately tried to prevent. Sophia received probation and mandatory psychiatric treatment rather than prison, her age and clean record factoring into sentencing. Harvard rescinded her admission upon learning full circumstances, destroying the future my parents prioritized above my safety. My parents faced charges for obstruction and failure to report. Their professional reputations crumbled as public revelation of their cover-up spread. Father's hospital privileges underwent review, while mother's social standing collapsed as friends distanced themselves from scandal. The family that valued appearance above all now experienced their greatest fear: public exposure of their dysfunction. I focused on rebuilding through education and creative expression. Investigation uncovered my parents' sabotage of art school applications, but Mrs. Garcia connected me with advocacy resources that secured scholarship to Art Institute of Chicago's Fine Arts program. My rebuilt portfolio now featured documentary-style work chronicling recovery and resilience. When exhibited at school, the series attracted media attention for its examination of family violence and institutional enabling. The most unexpected development came from Miguel. Initially angry about family revelations, my brother eventually reached out after months of silence. At 16, he demonstrated remarkable maturity navigating our family's fracture. "I miss having a sister who doesn't lie," he admitted during our first supervised meeting. "Sophia keeps saying everything was a misunderstanding and Mom and Dad won't discuss it. I just want someone to tell me the truth." Our relationship rebuilt on genuine connection rather than performed unity. Living with our grandparents while our parents focused on legal defenses, Miguel found space to develop identity outside the perfect family narrative. Our weekly calls and monthly visits created sibling bonds based on honesty instead of hierarchy. Healing involved recognizing patterns that enabled escalating abuse, scapegoating one child, golden child syndrome, parental emotional neglect disguised as high expectations, and systematic reality distortion when family image was threatened. The most complex aspect of recovery involved Sophia herself. After months of court-mandated therapy, she requested supervised contact through her treatment program. Initially reluctant, I eventually agreed with my therapist's support. Her first letter acknowledged responsibility without excuses. I convinced myself I was protecting my future by eliminating obstacles, but I was destroying everything that mattered. No Harvard acceptance or parental approval could justify what I did to you. While not immediately forgiving, I recognized this accountability's value for both our healing. Our carefully boundaried communication evolved through letters to supervised video calls, each interaction rebuilding basic trust without erasing consequences. Sophia's path involved intensive treatment for substance dependency and the perfectionism that warped her moral framework, transforming academic competition into justification for violence. She now attends community college while working in our grandparents' flower shop, learning to find worth in simple accomplishments rather than external validation. My parents attempted reconciliation on their terms once legal proceedings concluded. Their version of family reunification came with conditions: private acknowledgement of wrongdoing while publicly maintaining modified accident narrative, supervised family therapy aimed at eventual public reconciliation, and financial support contingent on family loyalty. "We've all made mistakes," Father offered during a mediated meeting. "Time to rebuild as a family unit." "Some things aren't mistakes," I countered. "They're choices. You chose Sophia's future over my safety. You chose reputation over truth. Those weren't errors in judgment, but deliberate values decisions." I declined their conditional reconciliation, establishing my own terms for limited contact: acknowledgement of full reality without minimization, respect for my independence including educational choices, and abandonment of perfect family pretense in favor of authentic relationship. "I don't need a perfect family," I explained. "I need an honest one. When you're ready for that, we can try again." As college approached, My photography evolved beyond trauma documentation toward broader exploration of hidden realities. My images examine spaces between public presentation and private truth in families, institutions, and cultural narratives. Professor Martinez, my faculty advisor, noted the maturity unusual for first-year students. You're not creating voyeuristic trauma art. You're developing visual language for authenticity in a world rewarding performance over truth. When offered opportunity to teach weekend photography workshops for young trauma survivors through a local advocacy center, I found unexpected healing in helping others find their visual voice. 17-year-old Marcus, whose father's abuse was similarly concealed by family denial, captured particularly powerful images of locked doors and empty chairs. Before photography, I couldn't explain what happened without breaking down, he shared during our final session. Now I can show people instead of just telling them. His words crystallized my understanding of photography's power, not just artistic expression, but evidence creation and reality validation when verbal testimony might be dismissed. Looking back, I recognize the painful irony of my family's obsession with perfect appearance. In trying to maintain flawless external image, they created internal brokenness far more damaging than any public imperfection might have been. Their fear of looking bad ultimately created the very exposure and judgment they desperately sought to avoid. My healing continues. Physical scars faded, but emotional recovery remains ongoing. Some days bring flashbacks of falling, momentary doubts about reality, when memories conflict with years of programmed family narrative. But these moments no longer define my future or determine my worth. Today, my camera focuses on both shadow and light, capturing complete human experience rather than curated highlights. My most powerful images embrace imperfection, finding beauty in authentic reality rather than constructed perfection. The family I've created through chosen relationships provides what my biological family couldn't: acceptance without performance requirements, love without conditional approval, and truth without image management. These connections, built on authentic foundation, offer stability my perfect-looking family never achieved. The truth remains simple yet profound. Silence protects the wrong people. Speaking truth, however painful, creates the only path to genuine healing. The X-rays revealed not just my broken bones, but my unbreakable spirit, evidence that reality eventually surfaces despite efforts to contain it behind perfect portraits and practiced smiles. If my story resonated with you, remember that your truth deserves to be heard and believed, even when others try to silence it. Thank you for witnessing mine. Together we can create communities where truth speaks louder than appearances, and healing becomes possible through shared understanding.